Hello, I'm Karen McCombie and this is my new novel, Little Bird Flies. It's about a girl called Bridie who lives on a remote Scottish island in 1861, and it's set in quite a harsh time in Scottish history that not a lot of people know about. Rich lairds, the landowners of the time, decided at that point that the land was worth more than the tenant farmers on it, and they got rid of tenant farmers in their thousands. Bridie's family live on a wild island and think that this terrible time has passed them by, that they're safe. But no, a new laird arrives and things become desperate and dangerous, and Bridie and her family have to flee for their very lives. I think this story has been rattling around in my mind for years. Also, Bridie's voice, it's been murmuring more and more loudly, and I think now is the time to tell that story. So today I thought it might be interesting to share a couple of stories with you about the inspiration behind my book, and they go back to my childhood. So with my childhood, I grew up in a multi-storey block in Aberdeen, Scotland, on the 15th floor. And I had an amazing view from my bedroom window, right out to the North Sea. There were oil rigs aplenty just dotted out there on the bay. So a very modern view. But this one winter, inside, I was curled up on my bed reading something that blew my mind. I was reading Little House in the Big Woods by Laura Ingalls Wilder, the first in the Little House on the Prairie series. And I was smitten. I was reading this historical book, but I could feel the cold winds in the woods of Minnesota. I could feel the sun on the prairies and smell the wildflowers. Everything was so vivid. And I think as an adult writer, I've always wanted to harken back to that time when history suddenly didn't feel black and white. And I wanted to write a book that hopefully a present day reader would find that excitement in that I did. My second important childhood influence, my parents. Now, my parents were working class, avid readers. We never had many books in our house because the few we did have rotated because we were at the library across the road every single week. Now, one summer, Mum and Dad really got into a new series of popular Scottish historical books that had come out. And they decided that they should really get into enjoying the Scottish culture more and getting me excited by it. So we ended up going away for weekends or long day trips, packing everything in the estate car and driving off. And we visited mountains, lochs. We visited castle upon castle. We visited battle sites like Culloden. Now, while we were driving about, I remember looking at the amazing views. And one time it occurred to me that I'd seen so many of these grand, great expanses with no one and nothing in it. Except I did keep seeing just traces of tumble-down cottages. And I said to Mum and Dad, why have people moved away? Why do I keep seeing these tumble-down cottages here and there and these great landscapes? And that's when they explained to me about the Highland clearances, which were essentially when the landowners just got rid of their tenant farmers and their families. It was a very desperate time. It's estimated that over that century, over half of the population of the Highlands and Islands were gone, sent away, forced away, sometimes to other parts of Scotland, to England, but more often overseas in sometimes terrible, cramped, awful conditions. The funny thing is, when I was writing the book, I was just telling Bridie's story. I never thought about the bigger picture. And it wasn't till it was finished, done and dusted with my editor, that my editor, Kirsty, turned around and said, "You do realise this story actually resonates with what's going on in the world at the moment?" And I was a bit confused, and then I realised it was true. It does fit in with the idea at the moment that people are getting of people fleeing, of persecution, of people leaving their homes, of forced emigration. So it's so strange that while it's taken me years for the story to come together, maybe actually This is a time for little bird flies.